Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. Let me quickly take you through the top stories we're tracking in this hour. External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar hails Operation Sindoor, says Pakistan sought ceasefire after May 10th strikes, reiterates Prime Minister's message on terror and talks will not go together. Adds only discussion in Kashmir will be that of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh lauds braves of Operation Sindoor in Srinagar, warns Pakistan on nukes, urges global nuke watchdog to act against Pakistan.
आतंकियों ने भारतीयों को धर्म पूछकर देखकर मारा, धर्म पूछकर मारा, तो हमने आतंकियों को उनका कर्म देखकर मारा.
Pakistan Prime Minister poses with tanks after air battle. Pakistan air battle thwarted by India repeatedly. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif makes a mockery of himself and his military. India's terror hunt up close. Final assault on Pulwama terror hideout on camera. 6 out of 14 terrorists in forces hit list killed. Donald Trump's big claim on trade talks with India, says India has offered zero tariffs. India yet to confirm US claim. After India today reported Turkish firms linked ground operations at Indian airports, civil aviation body cracks the whip. Security clearance for Celebi revoked. Civil aviation minister assures action. Big President response on Supreme Court fixing deadline. President asks, can Supreme Court fix deadline for President governors? Government invokes rarely used power of President.
Colonel Sofiya Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh became the face of the defence forces, holding daily media briefings during the India-Pakistan conflict last week. Two women from two different faiths. The message was simple. India is united against terror. Now a Madhya Pradesh minister's statement referring to Colonel Sofiya Qureshi has sparked a row.
जिन्होंने हमारी बेटियों के सिंदूर उजाड़े थे, वही कटे पिटे लोगों को हमने उन्हीं की बहन भेज करके उनकी ऐसी की तैसी करवाई. उन्होंने कपड़े उतार के हमारे हिंदुओं को मारा और मोदी जी ने उनकी बहन को उनकी ऐसी की तैसी करने हमारे जहाज से उनके घर आए.
The Congress staged protest demanding the minister's sacking.
उनकी बहन को हमने भेजा, मतलब किसकी बहन को भेजा? आतंकवादियों की बहन को भेजा या किसके लिए कहा? ऐसे मंत्री को अभी इसी वक्त पद त्यागना चाहिए. नरेंद्र मोदी जी से मेरा आग्रह है, विजय शाह जी की जो भाषा थी, जो उनका बयान था, बिल्कुल गैर जिम्मेदाराना है. मैं मानता हूं ये बयान भारतीय जनता पार्टी को स्पष्ट करना पड़ेगा कि ये भाषा, ये भाव, ये विजय शाह के थे या बीजेपी के थे. और अगर विजय शाह के थे तो अभी इस्तीफा लो उनसे.
वही कटे पिटे लोगों को.
The minister initially defended the statement.
कुछ मेरे भाषण को अलग संदर्भ में ना देखे. अगर जो अलग संदर्भ में देख रहे हैं, वो मैं उनसे कहना चाहता हूँ कि वो उस संदर्भ में नहीं है. वो हमारी बहन है, उन्होंने बहुत ताकत से सेना के साथ मिलकर उसके बदले.
As political heat mounted, Vijay Shah backtracked.
हम लोग मिलिट्री का और सोफिया बहन का अपमान का सोच भी नहीं सकते. हमारी सगी बहन से ज्यादा और जाति समाज से ऊपर उठ करके उन्होंने देश और समाज के लिए जो काम किया है, उनको मैं सैल्यूट करता हूं. अगर उनको या किसी को भी मेरे उन बातों से कोई दुख हुआ हो तो मैं 10 बार क्षमा मांगता हूं.
The Madhya Pradesh High Court stepped in on Wednesday, ordering an FIR against Vijay Shah. The minister's statement has triggered an unwarranted controversy at a time when the country has put up a united front against Pakistan-sponsored terror. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, what's also happened is that Mr. Vijay Shah approached the Supreme Court to stay the High Court order on initiating criminal proceedings against Mr. Shah. And it's interesting because those criminal proceedings would have practically taken place under what was an original law of sedition. The Supreme Court today came down heavily on the Minister of Madhya Pradesh. The Supreme Court, with the newly minted CGI, taking on the minister, stating a person holding such a public office is expected to uphold certain standards. Every sentence uttered by this minister has to be with responsibility. You show some sense of sensibility and go apologize to the High Court. Also stating that this is preposterous, unacceptable, insensitive. The Supreme Court sharply rebuking Madhya Pradesh Minister Vijay Shah over his controversial, communal, sexist, derogatory remarks against Colonel Qureshi. You had the Chief Justice Gawai himself questioning the conduct, asking, what sort of comments are you making? You should show some sense. Go and apologize to the High Court, refusing to stay the High Court order which was asked for criminal proceedings to start, where it comes down to this minister on your television screen. At the back of that, certain questions that we pose this evening before we bring in our guests. Why is the BJP being soft on the tribal minister Vijay Shah? Is a question that we ask, and to the point this evening, viewers, because till now the BJP hasn't taken any action. You've had the likes of senior leadership like Uma Bharati openly asking for the sacking of Vijay Shah, but the BJP till now has taken absolutely no action. Why is the Madhya Pradesh police shielding Vijay Shah? Something that was put forth by the High Court as well, because the High Court not happy with the framing of the FIR against Vijay Shah. They asked for stringent action to be taken. They were not happy with the way the FIR was being framed. The High Court has even gone to the extent to suggest that the administration is trying to shield Vijay Shah. BJP picking political compulsions over national pride is the question we want to ask this evening, viewers, because ultimately, is it because Mr. Shah is a prominent tribal leader where the state of Madhya Pradesh is concerned, that has a sizable tribal population, and they have picked political compulsions over what is clear national pride? He's a man who's downrightly been sexist, communal, derogatory to a soldier in uniform, even if we forget the gender for once. Let's cut across and take these questions to our panelists this evening. Joining me, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Wing Commander, Anuma Acharya, National Spokesperson, Congress, retired. She's now with the Congress, Anuma Acharya. You know, usually we put the rank with the person, because now you are with the Congress. Allow me to call you just Anuma Acharya for this debate. Lalita Kumara Mangalam, former chairperson, NCW, also joins us. So does Squadron Leader, retired Varlin Panwar. She's a defense expert. I want to immediately cut across first, before I cut across to our political spokespersons here, to the former chairperson of the NCW, Ms. Lalita Kumara Mangalam. Two things I want to highlight here. The NCW has stepped in, though criticizing what's happened, and one would think that the NCW completely toothless here as well, Lalita Kumara Mangalam, because ultimately, just last month, the NCW had at least summoned certain individuals who they thought were in the wrong because they made some statement in some OTT platform, and it seemed the NCW was way tougher on the likes of them. And something in this department, because it seems to concern a political outfit, the NCW just criticizing, what the minister says and nothing else.
Look, I think that both the media and the Congress are overplaying this incident. This gentleman should definitely have spoken with much more responsibility. And I think he probably spoke in Hindi. So when it's said in English, it sounds quite different. I'm not approving of what he said. I think what he tried to say was that, look, the Pakistanis What I find reprehensible in what he said is his reference to religion. I don't think he was trying to be gender biased. Many people, it's said very commonly in language. I grew up in Delhi, so I know how these things are said. However, he's a minister. He should have taken note. He should have been much more careful of how he put it across. It's not sedition. That is ridiculous. That's just a political gimmickry by non-BJP parties. This gentleman should be asked to apologize. I'm sure he will if he's told to. And too much is being made of it, yes, but he should not have made that statement. Any minister, any person in public office must display more responsibility. He probably sort of got away with his emotions or whatever, but that is not how a minister should be. You must have more control over what you say. That bit I agree with, but it's not sedition. And I don't think it's gender bias. What he was probably trying to say is that she being a Muslim, which he shouldn't have said, I agree. But what he was trying to say was she being a Muslim, even she went against the Pakistan. So what is Pakistan? I mean, think of itself, there's no victory, etc., etc. He should not have put it that way. The way he said it was wrong. But I don't think, and I may be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong, that he had very wrong intentions. It was not gender bias, and it's certainly not sedition. But yes, it was incautious, it was impolite, it was very rude, and it should not have been. He could have used different words or different language to convey what he was trying to say.
You know, Ms.
Insofar as the NCW is concerned, please understand that they have to stick to the law of the land. It's not seditious. If you know the law, you'd understand that what he said is not seditious. Also, you can't call it gender bias, perhaps, but it's not against gender laws. He did not invoke her gender as such. He said, he used the word sister, behen. Again, let me say this again. I don't approve of the way he said it, but I really doubt if he meant it in a seditious or a gender biased way. Indian courts are also known to overreact. I'm sorry, maybe I will be now called to task for saying something like this, but it's not as if everybody is doodh ka dhula, you know. Perhaps the court didn't like the fact that he questioned something that was done by a member of the armed forces in an emergency. It is true that as a family, we must stick together in an emergency, which is why I'm saying he need not have said what he said, especially not the way he said it. He should not have done that. He should apologize now.
Well, Ms. Kumaramangalam, he's apologized not once but twice over. But having said that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask our producers to cull out exactly what he said, because I think, there is, something's lost in translation. Because if you think it's not sexist, because in the other line, the kind of language that he used, especially in terms, and I really don't want to say it on national television, is quite sexist. And his words were deeply communal as well. And, I rarely disagree with you, Kumaramangalam, ma'am, I do not think that the media is making a big deal out of nothing, because I think a big deal or a bigger deal needs to be made out of it as well. This is a man who's repeatedly has made sexist statements. The last time, he was suspended from the Bharatiya Janata Party was when he made a deeply derogatory statement against the then Chief Minister's wife, who was from the BJP, and he was suspended from the party. Of course, political compulsion so demanded that he be brought in. But I just want to put that there, and I'm going to make you hear it again. And like I said, maybe there's something that has been lost in communication here. I want to bring in Squadron Leader Panwar, defense expert who's also with us. Squadron Leader, Panwar, what do you make of this statement? The High Court, of course, has come down heavily. They've even reprimanded the local police for not being firm enough in the FIR.
Good evening, Preeti. First of all, I've heard the statement, and it is disheartening, not because, he has made a statement like this, but it is disheartening because he's a politician. He's holding a position where he can address so many people. He can influence so many people, and I would like to tell all the audience watching this show that armed forces is secular in nature. And there are two places which has no place in armed forces. Number one, gender, and number two, religion. All that we care is about mission and integrity that we hold in armed forces. There is a reason that we wear same type of uniform. There is no place for any attachment of religion in our armed forces. And I would also like to cover that this gentleman can definitely go and apologize on 100 platforms. But what are we going to do about the psychology? That is something that is, we need to pay attention, that someone who is holding such crucial position is making such remark about an officer who we have seen was covering such important briefing for the entire nation.
Okay. All right. I want to cut across to our political guest right now. I want to go to the BJP spokesperson, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam. Dr. Islam, usually you're a very even-tempered and a very reasonable man. And therefore, you've practically come to defend the indefensible. But I will ask you a question. You had Ms. Uma Bharti today who practically said that if we have any shame, we should sack this individual. Why is the BJP not till now reacting or at least suspending this man? Does the BJP feel that he hasn't said anything wrong?
Let me first respond to you that what he said is absolutely wrong. That's our stand, that whatever he has spoken is wrong. He shouldn't have said. And he will face the consequences as well. Because we do not endorse, the party does not endorse such a statement by any of our members. And since he has made this statement, it is an individual remark, individual statement, whatever he meant, but the intention could be different. But the intended, the consequence of the statement is very different, and it is something which needs to be condemned, and that is why the party has condemned. If you are saying that party has not condemned, I am sure that you must see all the channels. The party has condemned it. Parties are disassociated with such a statement, and as far as the action is concerned, there is always a procedure, disciplinary committee is there in the party, which first issue the show cause notice, and then of course based on the explanation the concerned person has, and then on that basis party takes the committee takes appropriate action. As far as the statement is concerned, we condemned it. I'm an official spokesperson of the party, and I am telling you that we condemned such a statement. Having said that, we must also wait for since the matter is now in the court. So I think we must wait for the court to deliver a judgment. The hearing is tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow. Let's wait for the Supreme Court's judgment or the observation or this whatever Supreme Court delivers on this matter. We need to wait for that. But as far as party is concerned, we do not endorse such a statement coming from a responsible member or minister from our party.
We're going to take away the timer for this debate because I want to come back to you. Dr. Islam, before we bring in the Congress spokesperson, I want to give our viewers just an iota of who this man is. He's an 8-term MLA for the BJP. He's a key tribal face in Madhya Pradesh. I want to hark back all the way to 2013, viewers. In 2013, Vijay Shah, who has been a key tribal leader for the BJP, was forced to resign from the state cabinet because he had made a highly derogatory comment about the then Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan's wife. And therefore, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, if the BJP saw it fit to make this man resign from the cabinet because he had spoken and the statement that he had made was deeply sexist against the former Chief Minister's wife, why doesn't the BJP, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, today deem fit to sack this man who has made such a derogatory comment, which you admit that he has made against somebody who's in uniform? It's a statement that can be gauged as deeply communal, if not also sexist and derogatory.
I mean, you can't equate the two situations here, because that time the matter was not in the court. Here the matter is in the court. Matter is being heard in the Supreme Court, and it is important for everyone to wait when the matter is sub judice and it's in the honorable court, where the hearing is scheduled to take place tomorrow. As far as I said, in terms of how we see this statement, we do not endorse this statement, we condemn this statement.
But, I'll come back to you.
Very clearly and very
right.
candidly.
But Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, I'll come back to you on this because when the BJP doesn't take action.
Let me tell you also.
Go ahead, sir.
No, action is always taken based on, Preeti ji, you know that action is taken based on the committee's report. Committee always, since the matter is in the court, I am sure that committee will also wait to hear from the court and then issue a show cause notice and the process what needs to be followed by the committee. I think we need not jump to the conclusion because that we are not taking action. When we are saying that we do not endorse this statement, means this statement is something which is against the spirit of the nation and against the policy of the party. So, if somebody has crossed that Lakshman Rekha, I'm sure that punitive action will be taken by the party.
Well, you know, the reason why, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, and I'll circle back to you, that punitive action is not being taken and that what is being gauged, the reason why it's not being taken by the BJP is because he represents what a sizable 21% of the population of Madhya Pradesh, which is the tribal population, and correct me if I'm wrong, which impacts 47 seats of the 230 assembly in Madhya Pradesh, and that is the main reason why this man is not being removed today, because under any other circumstances one would have thought that he would have been removed. I'll also circle back, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, on issues that have been raised in the past as well, on certain ministers who continued to be part of the BJP despite strong charges against them, Brij Bhushan Sharan, for example. But I'll go back right now. I want to bring in the Congress spokesperson into this. Wing Commander Anumacharya, Ms. Acharya, the big question here is, the matters in the court, why try to milk it politically? That's what's, at least on ground in Madhya Pradesh, the Congress is seeming to do.
Good evening to you.
Ms. Acharya, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, while NCW's former chairperson was pitching for the minister, we must remember that Vijay Shah is the first minister in Madhya Pradesh's history booked under threatening national unity. Let that sink in first. Let's be clear that FIR laws was not for light charges. They were bigger charges. But what the MP High Court found, that they literally had to ask, is this even an FIR? Have the police even read what they wrote? Where are the elements of crime? This is all was asked by the High Court. And this is not incompetence, this is deliberate, this is also was established. All I have to say is the High Court had to step in and tell the government to fix the FIR, and after that, state of law of order of Madhya Pradesh is already known. FIR against ministers are being diluted, manipulated, and designed to fail. And government claims, and the BJP spokesperson also say that he did not mean this. One side they are saying they are condemning, and the other side they are saying this. Now, next court date is when? Do you know? It is pushed after the summer vacation, when this case will be heard. That means almost a whole month will pass. And by then, the headlines will have changed. The BJP knows this. They are just buying time. We are discussing, but by the time this case will come up again, the public attention would have moved on. The minister won't resign. The issue will fade from people's mind. And trust me, BJP will flood the new cycle of fresh headlines to bury this story.
Okay.
So we all know this. This is what is happening. We are just talking. And when we know, this is not the one-off. He has a long track record of indecent and controversial behavior. Not only the two incidents which you brought out. He has done a similar thing with actress Vidya Balan when she came there for shooting. He was also found speaking something ill about Rahul Gandhiji's, about his marital status. He was also making a mockery of the transgender communities. He has been doing this. Now he's changing his stance. That's fine. The ministers and state, Pratima Bagri, some women ministers of Madhya Pradesh, who are the minister of state, they are just defending him, like NCW former chairperson is also defending him. But despite all this, the BJP keeps rewarding him with cabinet posts in every government, from Ms. Uma Bharti to Mohan Yadav, even now. So when this case is going to be heard later, we all would have forgotten about it. Today, you have organized this debate. Kudos to you. But we all know where this is going to
Okay,
go.
you know what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, and I want to bring in, our guest just one final time for a quick word in, and I will, begin with Ms. Lalita Kumara Manglam first. But before I do that, Ms. Kumara Manglam, I want you to just hear, and I want to maybe decipher for you on at least what is the implication or what this man intended to say. So let's listen in once again, and I'm going to come right back to you, ma'am.
जिन्होंने हमारी बेटियों के सिंदूर उजाड़े थे, वही कटे पिटे लोगों को हमने उन्हीं की बहन भेज करके उनकी ऐसी की तैसी करवाई। उन्होंने कपड़े उतार के हमारे हिंदुओं को मारा, और मोदी जी ने उनकी बहन को उनकी ऐसी की तैसी करने हमारे जहाज से उनके घर आए।
Now, Lalita Kumara Manglam, the sheer fact that with what he said, and you're saying that it's definitely not sedition, many would suggest that it is sedition because he's actually alleging that a woman in uniform is a sister of the terrorist there. So you're attacking the Indian army. He's claiming that she is one with the terrorists, where he says that she's their sister.
I don't think he meant it as a person in uniform. He meant it as a woman of the same religion, which itself is wrong. I've said this again, that what he said was wrong. Being a minister, a person in a position of responsibility, he needs to be more careful about how he says things, how he puts things, regardless of what his personal feelings are. But it's not sedition. Sedition is stretching it too far. I agree. If I was the person who he was talking about, I wouldn't have been happy with just an apology. But I don't think that we can sit in on television programs and decide who the government should sack or not sack. The Congress person undoubtedly will speak on behalf of her party. I understand her point of view. I don't know anything about this man. I'm not from Madhya Pradesh. But if he is a regular serial abuser of women, then I feel that his chief minister should openly pull him up, at the very least. I'm nobody to pass comment on which chief minister should sack which minister. I don't go to that sort of attention-grabbing headlines statements. You know that very well about me. But as somebody who has always stood for women's rights, I feel it is very wrong of him to have questioned any woman in uniform. In a time of emergency, it is best that all of us stand together. Let the courts decide. The courts have already come down very strongly on him, regardless of summer vacations. I think it's very insulting to suggest that the court will forget. People may forget headlines. The courts don't. So I don't think the courts will go easy on him. They've already been very tough, and rightly so. Let's see what the courts say. But I don't agree when somebody says that after a month, the courts will go easy on him. They won't. That's very insulting to our judges, who have an enormous amount of experience. And they also know that in times of emergency, every Indian should stand together.
All right, but ma'am, I just want to, add that there are many right now who are in jail for sedition of having done way less. But having said that, you've made your point there. But I want to bring in Dr. Syed Zafar Islam back into this conversation. And Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, it's a big question mark now, because the BJP clearly disagrees with what he says. You clearly say that what he said is preposterous. Why is it so difficult then for the Bharatiya Janata Party to step up and sack this man? Is it just because the Congress is asking for it? Because the brother of Dr. Qureshi has written to the president asking for action as well.
No, let me give a very candid response. I mean, I don't want to politicize this issue between us and Congress, or for that matter, any other organization. See, we are talking about somebody in uniform. And if anybody, whether it's me, you, or anybody sitting on this panel, or for that matter, any citizen of this country, who insults or make a statement which is insulting to the army or armed forces, is something will not be endorsed by any party. We are not endorsing it. I'm saying that as far as the action is concerned, since you are insisting that why we have not taken action, as the matter is in the court, so you will not respect the court or court's judgment. So since the matter is in the court, I think it is advisable for anybody to wait for the judgment of the court. Let the court pronounce a judgment, and then of course it will be implemented immediately. Had it not been the court, perhaps the honorable party president would have issued, they asked the committee to issue a show cause notice by then. I know. But there is a process to take the action.
All right,
It's
I'll
not
just
that,
remind you, the charges might be, you can't equate the charges, but if you think it's wrong, Dr. Zafar Islam, I will remind you that even though the matter was in court, the BJP did get rid of Kuldeep Singh Sengar. But I'll come back to you. There's no point because, there is a party line that you need to take and sometimes you have to defend the indefensible. And I want to bring in 30 seconds, the Congress spokesperson, and then I need to dip into news break that's coming in. Go ahead, ma'am, final take.
Only thing is that we are talking about a women officer. We are talking about a dignified service. We are talking about a gentleman who has a track record of talking something ill about women, other communities, girls. He has spoken in a cultural function. He spoke something very ill about the women wearing the clothes. So if somebody is siding him, even the former NCW chairperson, it is so surprising. Not only for party, at least speak for the women and speak for this armed force lady.
A humble reminder, ma'am. I'll just remind you of your own Congress leader, and has any action been taken against Mr. Watedar, who went ahead in Madhya Pradesh and seemed to suggest that it's all right, gaslighting all the victims.
Just a second. Preeti ji, 10 seconds, please.
I am from Madhya Pradesh.
Ma'am, I'm just telling you.
I just want to remind the Congress.
I am from Madhya Pradesh.
Ma'am, I know you're from Madhya Pradesh. I'll also, sir, I'll get you in.
I want to remind Congress spokesman.
Okay, sir, make your point.
So there are, we are
10
talking
seconds.
about...
I want to, before she responds. No, before you respond, Congress spokesperson, Tanchmal, who said Tanchmal? In Madhya Pradesh, from a leader from Madhya Pradesh, who was the former chief minister, who was he referring to Tanchmal?
There is the colloquial language. We talk,
you have to have some shame.
Okay, it's not about colloquial language. Arunima Singh, that's where the line is
colloquial language, Tanchmal.
That is where the line. Today the sad part is Okay, I'm going to come in. I'm going to come in on this because it's none the richer. Because if that's colloquial language, so can this gentleman say that it was colloquial language. So one doesn't make the other better, and I don't think we're doing anything wrong, contrary to what some on the panel might have felt, that we're blowing up the issue. We are not. We're actually going to keep on the issue till action is taken. Appreciate all our guests for joining us on this debate before we move into the next quick news break that's coming in. That's just coming in right now. Inside scoop on India-US trade talks. Government sources have told India today talks with US progressing well. Manufacturing opportunity for India. All of this, viewers, has come to light after you had President Trump, who seemed to have suggested that India has agreed to zero tariffs where trade talks are concerned. So the news break that's coming in seemed to suggest that with US are progressing well, manufacturing opportunity for India.
Little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is the highest, one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. Tim, I said, Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of themselves. They're doing very well. We want you to build here, and they're going to be upping their production in the United States. Apple. So Apple's already in for $500 billion.
Operation Sindoor had the country united. Even the opposition backed the government. But the aftermath of Operation Sindoor yet to set in. But as expected, domestic politics now peaking to politically leverage the success of Operation Sindoor. The BJP has embarked on a nationwide Tiranga Yatra. 11-day-long Tiranga Yatra is to honor the courage and sacrifice of India's armed forces. The Yatra will run from May 13 to May 23, with events planned across various parts of the country. The aim to create a visible wave of patriotic sentiment with the tricolour held high in towns and cities nationwide. The Congress claims that it was the first to start a nationwide Jai Hind Yatra. In a show of patriotism and gratitude, the aim of the yatra was to express deep appreciation for the Indian Armed Forces and support for its country's citizens. While each is calling the other as a copycat, the political messaging is clear: to do what it takes to politically milk the success of the Indian Armed Forces. Yatra versus Yatra. Top focus on to the point this evening.
Let's quickly cut across to our panelists. Dr. Pooja Tripathi, National Spokesperson Congress; Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson BJP; Neerja Choudhry, Senior Journalist and Columnist. Ms. Choudhry, to bring you in to just set the tone very quickly. You know, at one end you have the BJP going state to state. What the BJP says is to honor the valor of our armed forces, but ultimately the political messaging is clear. The Congress, on the other hand, doing exactly the same. So it's one yatra pitched against the other. The Congress at least realizing that they cannot allow the Bharatiya Janata Party to run away with at least what has been the national agenda or a nationalist agenda.
Look, you know, after such a major 18 days of what the country's gone through, and for the war, Pahalgam, with those widows, and Pahalgam was targeted at the women of India, you know, to bring widowhood to those women, to bring suffering to those women, to see their husbands killed in front of them. So there was huge anger in the country, huge grief this time in the country. And the Prime Minister promised to avenge those losses, and he had an operation. Then came the ceasefire. Now, sections have criticized the ceasefire, that country should have actually gone and decimated Pakistan. That was a kind of sentiment in the country. But in the government's wisdom, they went in for early ceasefire after 4 days. Now, of course, questions have risen about Donald Trump, US President's role in it. He himself declared that they had brokered the ceasefire and so on. Now, it is only natural that politics will follow. We are a democracy. We are a multi-party democracy. The government and the ruling party will go out and put its side of the story about what they have done and honor the valor of the armed forces and remember the loss of lives that was suffered during the terror attacks in Pahalgam. And the Congress, as the main opposition party, will also use this opportunity to mobilize people at the ground level. And they will also do the Jai Hind Yatra, and they will raise questions about how the ceasefire came about and who brokered it, and the questions that have been raised. Has Kashmir come center stage in place of terror? Has India and Pakistan been hyphenated? Those are questions that have been raised. And this is only natural. It's a natural part of democracy. Politics have to follow. So I don't think we should be surprised. Let's see who's the gainer and who's the loser.
Right. A fair point. There's an election coming in soon. But Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, is the BJP a little, maybe not worried, but at least, clued into the fact that the Congress now understands the language of the BJP and is now playing on your pitch, not allowing you to run away what has been, to leverage the nationalist fervor in the country right now?
On a lighter note, let me just speak for a second. That if you have a product, there should be somebody to buy it, to make you a successful businessman. Unfortunately, Congress, the stand all along, if you do a back testing, you will realize that Congress stand is always to criticize the army, asking for proof how they have conducted aerial strike or they have attacked Pakistan. They always needed a proof. This time they have got a proof. So it is Tiranga Yatra is being organized for the civil society to participate and acknowledge the valor of our armed forces, the contribution they made, the way they have attacked Pakistan. Everything is their achievement, and our members of our party are also participating in speaking about it, because it is something which every citizen should speak. Are we not? Have we said that people from Congress party should not join Tiranga Yatra? Tiranga Yatra is for every citizen of this country. But They want to play politics. That's why they want to organize separately. But there should be some takers for them, because they have criticized same armed forces, not once but many times, that they have done in 2016 or 2019, something which the armed forces should give a proof. And now when they have proof, they started doing a copycat and organizing a Vijay Yatra. It's something people will not buy their
not Vijay Yatra, Jai Hind Yatra. So there's Tiranga Yatra.
Instead of distancing themselves from Jai Hind Yatra is Jai. Right. Instead of distancing themselves from Tiranga, they could have also joined us, because we are not. It's not organized on at party's platform. It is organized for the civil society and anybody from any political party.
But I'll tell you why they're not joining you.
Of the society
but
can join.
Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, there's a reason why they're not joining you, and maybe Pooja Tripathi will be able to reflect on it more, because the Jai Hind Yatra, Pooja Tripathi, at one level, for the BJP, if it is to claim credit of the success of the armed forces, the Jai Hind Yatra from the Congress is also to discredit the BJP from taking any credit, of asking the credible questions on what the Congress feels need to be asked, whether, to tap into the emotion on why the ceasefire was called. Was there foreign intervention? What was the role of President Trump? Because you're doing all of that in your yatra.
Preeti, my esteemed co-panelist from Bharatiya Janata Party started his statement mentioning product and business. He's actually sounding like Trump. The valor of armed forces is not a product and business to be sold. And that everyone in the country should remember of. And I don't remember Bharatiya Janata Party inviting anyone.
My God, I gave you a reason to understand.
I really heard you. Please extend the same courtesy. I heard you. Please extend the same courtesy. Bharatiya Janata Party.
But you didn't understand me.
All right, sir, allow her to speak.
When you are equating me with
Dr. Islam, you've never been the kind to interrupt. You got a free run. Allow her.
So Bharatiya Janata Party would take out a 10-day yatra celebrating armed forces. It's not Bharatiya Janata Party armed forces. It's Jai Hind ki Sena, and I think everybody should take out some kind of a gratitude. But what is the biggest question here? What does Tiranga represent when they call it a Tiranga Yatra? Tiranga represents the collective identity of 140 million Indians. This collective identity is shamed when their cabinet minister, uses the most vitriolic, most vile and abusive language against Colonel Sofiya Qureshi, and that's when every Indian feels insulted. The collective identity of Tiranga is insulted when Vikram Misri has to lock out his account because his daughter was facing rape threats and nobody batted an eyelid. That collective identity is, shamed when Himani Narwal, the 6-day widow of Lieutenant Vinay Narwal, is at the receiving end of an abject abuse, and nobody from BJP came out to support her.
All right. Okay, so that's the difference between Tiranga Yatra and the Jai Hind Yatra.
We are paying an homage to our armed forces and our commendable armed forces, and they are just.
I don't have much time. We could have carried on this debate longer, but I'm sorry, that's all the time we have for now. But I think, limit it to this, because the yatras will take time, and we'll bring in all our guests back in to see which yatra was a success. I appreciate all three of you for joining us for this very short debate. Thank you then.